Okay, we should be live now.
Awesome.
I hope it's working.
Let me go check it out.
Yeah, hopefully it's working.
Yes, it is.
Perfect,
Confirmed.
perfect, perfect. Okay, so hi everyone. So happy to be here. My first LinkedIn Live for 2023. Happy New Year, everyone. I hope you had incredible holiday season. And now we are back to work. I'm sure most of us are back. And today we are going to talk about mentorship, how to find a mentor. Do you need a mentor? What to look for in a mentor, and tons of stuff. And with me, I have a pleasure to have Preet, who is the one who actually brought that topic up. So I figured, okay, if you brought the topic, you might as well just join me and we'll have a chat, which will be much more fun to me than talking to myself. A lot of times I feel like I'm talking to myself. So let's start with a quick intros, shall we? So for those who don't know me, I'm Limor. Right now, I'm focusing on coaching women in tech, supporting women in their career journey, and helping women grow and get to executive roles in tech. That's my passion and my mission. I also do other things, but that's the main thing I really enjoy doing. And Preet, why don't you introduce yourself to everyone here?
Thank you, Limor, and thank you again for the invitation. I think this, as you said, I propose this subject because I know how key it is, and we will go deeper into that in the following minutes. But for now, for my introduction, I am Preet Morado. I am a product manager. I've been working in startups for the past 3 years, which has been a wild ride, but it has been super fun. And, mentors have had all to do with my quick career growth. So that's much more about what we will be discussing. And I am a DEIB focused speaker as well. I love public speaking. I love to amplify ideas. And I am a community builder for women in tech as well. So Limor and I complement each other in a very interesting way. Thank you again, Limor, for having me.
Yeah, thank you, Preet. And I love what you do. I also love public speaking. This is great, isn't it? Especially, talking about things that are close to my heart. And Preet and I, for those of you who don't know, we know each other from working together in Power to Fly. So it's always a pleasure to collect friendships from different, stages in life. And I'm so grateful.
For sure, Limor. It was a real pleasure to be in the same projects as you. And let's go start getting into the subject and share some questions. I have prepared some questions for you and for our audience so that we can have this very, very light and dynamic conversation about mentorship.
Definitely. I just want to share, before we go and dive into the questions, which we'll do, awesome. I just want to show, just not too much, I talked about me, just about why even mentorship. There are some statistics actually why mentorship is so important, and more so we're talking about mentorship for women here, and why mentorship is so important for minority representation and increasing promotion and retention for women. So just showing that slide to you, just to kind of emphasize the importance of mentorship. It's not just me saying it's important, it's actually research that is showing the great impact of mentorship in general and also for minority representation. And that's why mentorship is so critical for women, especially to help women grow in their careers. And we're going to talk a lot about this today. And basically the value and what I see the most, what is the value in mentorship? First of all, I would say confidence building. I think this is the number one thing that I noticed with everyone I work with, that just having someone by your side helps you believe in yourself, identify your strength, identify what you're capable of. And that by itself is so powerful. Obviously, you can also use a mentor to develop specific skills to become a better leader, or depending on the profession and the things specifically that you want to grow at. So definitely, like you are from product, Preet, so a product leader may want to become a better product manager, or to get to the next level and become a director of product, or eventually a CPO. So having a mentor can really be impactful in not just in gaining the confidence, but also gaining the knowledge, the tips, whatever the mentor can help you with. Obviously, the mentor is also opening doors for you. You build a network because you connect to someone and they can help connect you to other people in the industry and help opening up possibilities for you. And as I said, it also helps increasing the promotion rate. But mentorship is not just important for the individuals, it's also important for the organizations because it helps them with having diverse team, as I mentioned, and increasing, overall employee retention, employee satisfaction, because when people grow, they're happier, right? I mean, I know that as a manager, that there's so much you can do by giving people more money. But when people feel that they have a place to grow, that the employee gives them the opportunity to grow, they're more likely to stay. And I'm browsing very quickly so we can focus really on the questions. Do you even need a mentor? Kind of a question, right? I mean, you may be asking, do I even need one? So I'm just kind of giving you some things to think about so you can figure out if you even need one. So things to think about: if you really want, if you're in a phase that you want to grow, you feel like, okay, maybe you're a little bit comfortable where you are at and you want to grow, you want to learn something new, you want to expand, you are open-minded, you want to hear other people, someone's opinions and directions, you want to grow, you're not afraid to share. And one of the key ingredients for successful mentorship is being transparent, being open, being vulnerable. And that's the great thing about mentorship, that it's a space that you really can be who you are. I know that sometimes in the workplace, you have to wear some masks. You're not always comfortable sharing what you're going through, or maybe some fears you have, some discomfort, some things that you're not sure of. The mentor is there for you, exactly for those things, so you can share the real things that bother you, the things that you are not sure how to do. Maybe when I started, I had no clue what I was doing, as a manager. So I couldn't go to my manager and say, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I felt much more comfortable doing that with a mentor. You want to learn, you're proactive, you're willing to get uncomfortable, you're willing to grow. So that's kind of just to give you some things to think about. And Preet, I don't know if you have other thoughts, because you raised that. So anything you feel I'm missing here?
No, I think, Limor, I think this is a great overview. I think you all the very important highlights that we would consider when starting to think about having mentorship in our lives, I think you covered for sure. I do identify in my own path when I've had the opportunity to have a person in my life that was committed to my professional success, other than myself, of course, and how different the psychological space of growing within. So what I'm trying to say is that I confirm with my own experience that how important it is to have this person in your life, and how much it can be a positive factor for your own growth, both personally and professionally, completely.
Absolutely.
So Limor, would you like to go into the questions after this awesome overview? What do you think?
Yes, we can definitely do that. I see that you want to go to the questions, so we can do that. This is just some qualities to look for in a mentor, right? Because we're going to talk about, what to look for in a mentor. So there are different factors depending really what you want. So many times you just want someone with some knowledge or some experience. Like I gave the example, let's say, I'm just picking up on you, Preet, if that's okay. Let's say you are a product manager, you want to become either a better product manager, or maybe you want to get to the next level. You want to become a senior product manager, or you want to become a director. Then you may want to have a mentor that has those experiences that you can learn from. A good mentor is someone that listens to you. They are great listeners. Not always you know that, but this is something also to help you to figure out if this is the right person for me or not. Because if your mentor is always talking and not allowing you the space, then maybe they're not the right fit for you. You want to have a mentor as a role model. And this is especially important for women. And having a mentor who is a woman in a senior role is great for you to have a role model and say, yeah, I can do that if she have done that. And I needed it a lot in my career, because a lot of times I didn't realize it's even possible for me. And just having someone who have done that, been there as a woman executive, saying, okay, it is possible, because I do see some women there and we need more, right? I mean, that's why we are here. You want someone who is open-minded, not judgmental, patient for you, ask you great questions to help you figure out. Sometimes you need to figure out what's the right things for you. A mentor is not there to tell you what to do, respectful, obviously, and honest. And you can relate to them. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a personal connection, and you want to make sure that the mentor is someone you can connect to. And I'm almost done. So just summarizing: skills, experience, interest, and personality, kind of giving you some high-level view of what to look for in a mentor. And I promise you, I am done with the slides. No more formalities, and we can just dive into a conversation.
No, Limor, that was great. No rush. But I think, as I said, I think you covered this. You got us thinking. You covered this very important first overview of what should I look for in a mentor? How do I know that I need a mentor? And I think it's very important that you did it from a very human perspective, because sometimes, or me myself as a technical person and a business technical person, I tend to look more for those technical skills in a mentor. But I think it's super, super valuable that you talked about who the person should be as a person in order to be able to be a great mentor for you, Yeah. So that actually takes me to my first question, which is, what has been your own story with mentorship? Like, I think we can tell from your knowledge that you have a lot of experience with it. But how was it for you early on in your career? Could you tell us more about your own connection to mentors and your challenges and benefits and such?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So it started when I was pregnant with my second child, and I was there as senior software engineer. I was working as a kind of a tech lead, running some projects with clients, and there was an opening for a management position. With the encouragement of my husband, I applied. I didn't think I would get it, and I got it. So after I got back from maternity leave, I started managing a team for the first time in my life. And to my surprise, I got a much bigger team than I anticipated. Originally, it was supposed to be a 5-people team, so starting kind of small, which is what I wanted, but eventually I got 25 people. And I was very intimidated by that. And, I didn't have any training. I didn't know what I was doing, basically. Like, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? How am I even talking with those people? How am I even running a staff meeting, one-on-ones? I didn't know anything. And I asked for my manager to help me. And he was very, very busy, because, our managers are also our mentors, right? To some extent, they help us too. But he was very busy, and he gave me first a coach, an executive coach, but she was not the right fit for me back then, because I really needed someone to give me some answers, and she could only ask me questions. And that was not very helpful. That was not helpful for me at that time. So what happened eventually is that I found a mentor within the company. He was a former manager of mine, and I knew him very well, respected him. And I just told him that I need help. And he said, okay, whenever you find a slot in my calendar, just book it and we'll talk. And he really helped me in figuring out how to handle different challenges that I was having for the first time as a manager. I had to let someone go. I had performance challenges. I had important business trips that I had to do for the first time as a manager. So every time I had a challenge like that, I was coming to him and just talking with him about it. And it was very, very important for me, both for my confidence and also really giving me the tools I needed.
Totally. Did it last for a few years? Was it a few months? How long did you have access to this mentor?
It lasted, I think, about, I would say, 2 years. But it wasn't like every week or something like that. It was ad hoc, as I needed, and he was available and he was around because sometimes he was traveling. I met with him.
Excellent. So you had this first experience as having a mentor, and as a woman in tech, what would you say are the main benefits as a woman in tech to have access to a mentor? Like how did you see this opportunity of having a mentor in your life benefit your technical career?
And several aspects. I think, as I mentioned before, confidence definitely is the number one. Just having the confidence in myself, in my abilities, I know what I'm doing. I'm not completely off base. I heard a lot from, the women that participated in the mentorship program in Power to Fly. I was interviewing them and they said, wow, just having someone to bounce ideas with, and they can validate that I'm not completely crazy. And that was valuable by itself. And also to provide a wider perspective of things, to show, so a good mentor doesn't tell you what to do. I really believe in just opening eyes, sharing experiences, and eventually the mentee or myself as the mentee needs to make the decision. So that mentor was incredible. He always said, like, every problem has at least 5 ways to solve it. And he was challenging me to think of different ways if I was stuck. And I thought, oh, there is no way out of that. He was like, okay, what else can you do? What are the other options? Sometimes when I was stuck, he was just helping me.
Totally. And you said, this about confidence, I know from studies I have read about just women in the workplace in general, and how confidence is such a big challenge for us, and we have to face imposter syndrome all the time, and we have to build our confidence all the time. And it's a bigger challenge for us than it is for maybe other gender identities, So I think that what you said about having a role model, what you said about building confidence, I would say in my own experience as well, that is sometimes the biggest challenge. And having a mentor does make such a big difference, because as you said, you can be yourself, you can be open, you can be vulnerable, you can have a safe space to understand your mistakes, and understand your wins, and then building on that to show up in the workplace in a more confident way completely. So since we know, and we have been discussing how important it is to have a mentor, how much benefits it has, where would you say it's the best space to find a mentor, both virtually and non-virtually? Where should we go to find these people for ourselves?
Absolutely. So I think first you should look around people you know. It could be people you worked with in the past, people you work with currently. It could be some friends, anyone in your surrounding. Like, for example, I have a mentor right now, and she's someone I met. She wanted some help in a course she's running, in the university, and I'm like her teacher assistant, and we became friends, and she helps me with different challenges I have as a business owner. So sometimes you just find people along the way, people you respect, people you value their opinions, you connect with. Expand your network. I mean, I really believe in networking because, again, mentorship is a human-to-human connection. And as you said, being vulnerable, sharing, fears, sharing mistakes, sharing things that you're not sure of, you need to feel very comfortable. So just figure out what kind of people do you want to have in your surrounding. By the way, it helps also with confidence building and lifting yourself up. What kind of people do you want to surround yourself with, and where can you find them?
Yes, I love that. I love that. I think you're completely right. People with knowledge are all around us, especially in our own workspaces and our industry. And there's many people out there willing to help. There's a lot of people out there willing to offer some of their time to help you advance in your career. I would complement what Limer said with the value of communities. There's so many communities around tech nowadays, and they're very specific. There are communities for Latin people in tech. There are communities for women in tech, for other gender identities, for sexual identity. There's so many different groups and communities that are tech focused, but that have identity in mind, I think they're great places to find mentors as well. And they're both virtual and non-virtual. So that could be a good strategy as well. So our next question is, how do I know that a mentor is a good match for me? Because you had this awesome, and I loved it, this great list of what characteristics a mentor should have, like being a good listener, asking good questions and such. But how do I know that this person specifically is a good match for me in the moment that I am in my career right now,
Yeah. So first of all, you don't know until you start. But if you're talking about, okay, so first you need to ask yourself, okay, where am I at and where do I want to get? What are my challenges right now? What kind of help do I need? So first it starts with you sitting down and figuring out what kind of help do you need. So for example, when I was starting to manage, I needed someone who was an experienced manager, who knew what they were doing and can help me in different managerial challenges. For you, it may be different. And then it comes to personal connection and feeling like the person. A lot of times you can look at people and at their social media and see what they do on social media. And this is the incredible things about social media, other than the other, things that we just spend our time endlessly, watching nonsense. But the good side of social media is that you actually, and I love LinkedIn, I mean, I'm all about LinkedIn, is that you can actually get a sense of who the person is just by assuming they're active on social media, just by seeing what they do. What kind of posts do they put? What comments do they make? Which things that they share? And you can figure out, is this person, can I relate to this person, to their values, to what they believe in? So a lot of women approach me because they see how passionate I am to supporting women in tech. They see my background, but they see also my passion. They want to work with me.
Totally.
And for you, it may be, I'm active in this community. I'm all about, women in this sector or whatever. So just see if you think that there is a common kind of values. And the other things is just talk with that person and see if you can relate, if you feel comfortable. Sometimes it takes some time to open up and feel comfortable. And eventually it's about, is this person helping me? Are they stretching me a little bit? Are they helping me realize things that I haven't thought about sooner? Are they helping me take a step forward?
Totally. Those are great tips. I mean, I feel like I've had many experiences with mentor. Many have been intuitive. I'm going more into wanting structured mentorship. And all these tips make so much sense to me. I think they're totally on point on what is something that you can have in mind for starters to know if this person is a good match. But for sure, it will take some time for you to figure it out. Maybe you cannot know that this person is the right person in the first 1 or 2 sessions, maybe it would take some more time for you to really understand how much of a match you and your mentor are, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And my next question is, what would you say it is important that a mentor has? I'm sorry. Would you say it is important that a mentor has mentorship knowledge, like coaching knowledge, mentorship knowledge, that can complement their technical skills? Because, for example, this list that you shared with us is more about like human characteristics, you know?
Yeah.
So is there like more concrete and structured knowledge that a person should have in order to become a mentor?
That's a great question. So I am a coach, and I took a rigorous training, but I started mentoring actually before I took coaching certification. And I think the main characteristics are the ones I mentioned before. So you want to have a person that is a great listener and know to ask great questions. Because it's not enough that someone is, let's say you want a mentor that is super technical and knows like a specific field. That's wonderful. The question is, are they just telling you what you should do? They just give you a spiel of their opinions, of what their way of doing things, or are they helping you figure things out? And I put in one of my slides, I haven't mentioned it, but I put like the famous quote: if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a day. If you teach him to fish, you feed him for many days. And I see successful mentorship just like that. I help my mentee develop the tool set, the skills that they need, so they don't need me all the time by their side. Because if you have someone that always tells you what to do, that always just gives you their way of doing things, their answers, they're not helping you become independent of them. You become just depending on meeting them, and they tell you what to do, rather than develop your own skills, your own personality, your own opinions, because eventually it's about you. It's not about them. Does it help?
Yes, for sure, for sure. So what I can take away from what you said is that, of course, if this person has some structured knowledge, such as a coaching certificate, that is wonderful, and that's something that you will benefit from. But it's not really the most important thing to look for in a mentor. The most important thing is for all this more human skills that will take them to be a person that shows you the way, but doesn't solve the problems for you. Rather, they teach you how to solve your own problems, right?
Yeah. And coaches, by the way, someone who becomes a coach usually have that characteristics, but they don't have to be coaches. And usually people who are in any leadership position, usually, not always, but usually they have qualities of listening and asking questions.
Yes,
or they should,
for sure.
at least,
because of course, they have had to develop them for sure.
Yeah.
So next question would be, how much time would you consider that needs to be invested in a mentorship relationship? Is there a specific amount of time per week? Is there a specific amount of time per month that would make a successful mentorship? Or what are your thoughts on that?
The cadence of the meetings?
I mean the cadence and
the length.
And the length, yeah, like how much time do you need to invest into a mentorship relationship for it to be successful, you know?
Yeah, so my answer, it depends. So first of all, I don't have a set rule about cadence. What I do usually tell people I start coaching is like, I want that between meetings, you're able to make progress. So if we're discussing some challenge that the person I'm working with has, and we talk about, okay, what are the next steps that you need to take? I want them to have the time to actually work on those things before we meet again, because it's not a therapy session, right? I mean, yes, there is aspects of listening, right? Of being empathetic to someone's challenges. That's great. This is a good thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's not just a therapy. I'm not just there to listen to you. and empathize. I want you to do some work. I want you to grow. So it's important for me that you're able to make some progress. So it could be on a weekly basis. It could be more, right? It could be 2 weeks. If it goes beyond like on a month, it could be also monthly. Just take into account that if you don't meet very frequently, usually the context is lost. And it takes some time to regain context. It could be effective if you have like very, very specific or concrete things you want to talk on a specific session. Let's say you have a challenge you need to solve, and that session is targeted just to solve a specific thing. The next time you meet, you talk about something completely different. That's fine. It doesn't matter. But if there is some consecutive, some continuity, exactly, then it makes it a little bit difficult if you meet more than 2 or 3 weeks away because you just don't remember exactly where you left.
Yes, it makes all the sense in the world, for sure. So it's really up to the people in the relationship, in the mentorship relationship, how it works for them best. But for sure, there needs to be some progress, because if not, maybe both people can feel frustrated or stuck.
Yes, right? Yes. Otherwise, why would they meet?
Exactly, totally. And nowadays, just investing time on anything related to your personal and professional growth is a big challenge. So when you ask a person to be your mentor, this person will spend and invest their own time into your career. So I have a big question there related to this time spent in a mentee, which is, should I pay my mentor? Should I offer my mentor some kind of exchange for that time that she might be spending in me? Or what would you say about that, about how to manage that part of the relationship?
So I think it really depends. If someone is just willing to help you, then first of all, mentors gain a lot from mentorship. It's not a one-way street. Mentors become better because you challenge them, right? To be able to ask you great questions, to help you. They grow as well. Usually people do that because they want to give back. It makes them, just being able to make an impact on someone else's lives, it's incredible feeling. So don't feel like if someone is investing time in you, they're only giving you, you're also giving them back. But in some cases, if you want commitment and you feel like it's very difficult for you to get that commitment from them, that time commitment, and also it depends on their profession. Are they doing that as a full-time, like they're mentoring or coaching and that's their full-time, that's what they do for a living? Or are they just doing it on the side?
Maybe you can ask this person, right?
You can ask. If for securing their time or having a more commitment, it will, a compensation will help. Because sometimes it's needed. It depends.
I see. So it can be very different scenarios. As you say, it depends a lot of what the person does for a living. And it's based on communication as well, right? So if you see there's not enough commitment, maybe you can suggest, hey, I can give you some compensation. Maybe that can help out. I see that totally.
Yeah,
I can relate to that as well.
Yeah, and by the way, you can always help them too, right? And ask how you can help them. A lot of times, they will want something rather than money, right? It could be opening time for time, networking, connecting, maybe giving advice on something, it could be anything.
Yes, I love that. So another very important thing is, how can I measure the results of my mentorship sessions? How do I know that the progress I am making with my mentor is solid and it's well structured, and that I'm really moving forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the best way to do it is, first of all, to figure out what are you trying to get out of the mentorship relationship. So if you start with someone, and let's say you start a mentorship relationship that may last several sessions, maybe a few months, then ask yourself, okay, what am I trying to achieve? What will be considered a success? And it has to be something that you have some control over, right? I mean, if it's something that is completely beyond your control, like I want to have a raise. Okay, let's take some arbitrary example. Well, yes, you can do some things, but eventually it's not in your control if you get a salary increase or not. And if you don't get it, doesn't mean that, you haven't made progress. But how can you measure progress? It could be, I want to become a better speaker. I want to be able to handle conflicts. I want to be able to have difficult conversations with some team members. So something that is more in your control that you can actually measure to yourself and figure out, okay, have I made some progress? And sometimes it's not like, earth shadowing or some, it can be small steps forward.
Completely. Of course. I think that's awesome. So always focusing on anything that is on my hands, that I can move the needle myself, that doesn't depend of any external factors, and that I can measure clearly, right? So I can set my goals and I can set my metrics and I can measure my progress myself, and that this progress, as you say, is in my control. I think that's totally on point. So that takes me to a next thought. That would be, what if I feel stuck with my mentor? What if this metrics or this needle that I'm moving for myself, I don't see it moving, like I'm not getting to the goals that I have set for myself. And this, like, it's not quite working with my mentor. I feel stuck. So what would you recommend in that case?
So depending why you feel stuck, depending if you feel stuck because you're stuck, and maybe you can ask your mentor to help you get unstuck. Maybe you're stuck in your own ways, or maybe the mentor is not giving you the right tools. Maybe you're spinning your wheels around the same topic and the mentor is not helping you. Like they don't come with something new. So you have several options there. If it's, you feel like it's more on the mentor side than yours, right? I mean, share with them what do you need from them. Okay, do you have ideas? Maybe we can approach it in a different way, or change a topic. Maybe you should change a subject you're working on, or maybe change a mentor. So, or maybe get a different perspective in addition to that mentor. But it really depends on the situation. Sometimes you may want to try something else.
To change your strategy. Either if it's, as you said, maybe it's the cadence of the sessions, maybe it's the subject of the session, as you said, Limor, or maybe what you could learn from this person, you got to the end of it and you need to look for someone new in your life, right?
It could be, absolutely. And I'll tell you that when I feel, as a coach and a mentor, when I feel like I helped this person, and I feel like, okay, we are kind of reached, it's not like the person cannot grow, but I feel like my part has finished. Then I usually try to end it, because it's very, very important for me to feel like every session is impactful and I'm able to help someone make progress.
And that's actually my next question, which is, when should you stop a mentorship relationship, or how long should a mentorship relationship last? I mean, when I thought about this question, I knew that there's no one answer for this. So there's not, this is something that, as we have been discussing, it's very related to who the people are in the mentorship relationship and what's happening in their professional lives and where are they and what point, right? But I do think that you can give us some thoughts on when, as you said, I think you already opened that subject. When is it a good time to stop the mentorship relationship?
Yeah, so there are different ways to look at this. First of all, if you started a mentorship relationship and you had a specific goal in mind, you had a success criteria, you had something that you wanted to achieve, and you feel either you have achieved that, or you know what you need to do, right? From that point on, maybe just tactical, just yes, you need to make some progress, there are some tasks you need to do, but basically you feel like you know what you're doing, you have what you need, and you don't feel like the mentor can really give any added value anymore, then maybe that's the time to stop. It could be that you still have room to grow, but you don't feel like the mentor, that specific mentor, has more to give in that subject, and maybe you need a different perspective from someone else. Maybe the mentor have brought you to the maximum they could, and now you need someone else with some different perspective, maybe different experiences, depending on the situation. And as you said, there is no right and wrong about length. It can be short, even one session, 3, 5, depending if you have something very, very, very specific. I had a woman that I met only once with. She had a very specific goal to get promoted. It's not that in one session she got promoted, but it was very, very concise session where we talked about what exactly she needs to do in her organization. So she matched the expectation, she get all the things from them that she needs to do, she has a plan. And after that session, basically she went on her way. She was very, very, very passionate, driven and motivated woman. And she just needed someone to kind of
support her in that moment.
Just support her, give her like, okay, I got it. I know what I need to do, and that's all. Sometimes it can be 3, 5 sessions. Sometimes it can be 10. It really depends on the situation.
On what you need, totally. And you know, here maybe we can connect to this other point that we discussed earlier, which is maybe you figure out after a few sessions that this mentor is not a good match for you. Maybe you don't relate to this person that easily, or you don't feel that they are the right role model for you in this moment in your career. So it can be that you reached or you received the value that you were looking for, or it can be that maybe the connection you're looking for is not there, and you need to keep on looking for a better match, right?
Yes.
So as Limor says, there's really no rules to it.
Yes, and I feel like if you feel like the mentor is not a right fit, it's better just to be transparent, respectful, but transparent, to say, you know, I need something else. Thank you so much. But it's much better for both of you if you're just ending this professionally, you know, respectfully, but you just tell them, okay, thank you so much, but I think I need something else. And that's it.
Totally. And Limor, this is my last question. Actually, I think this has been a super valuable conversation we've had, and I'm sure that it will help many people have more clarity on their own path. So my last question is, you already mentioned some of them, but I'm interested in knowing more of how a person can benefit from being a mentor. You know, like what can you find in that dynamic from the mentor perspective?
Yeah, so the mentor can benefit so much. First of all, becoming a good mentor helps you become a better leader. Because think about it, a good mentor needs to know how to listen, but listen to what you're saying, reflect back what they are hearing, you know, so expectations, you know, matching expectations with the mentee, identifying success criteria and how to measure them and how to help the mentees grow, asking great questions, being really dynamic at identifying situations and reacting to them. It helps someone become much, much better as a leader, and it can help that person in different situations in the workplace, or if they are business owners, just with connecting with different people, helping other people, managing, leading. It doesn't have to be a management position. It can be just pure leadership. It just helps mentor become better leaders.
Yes, and you know, I connected the dots that all this list of characteristics that a person should have to be a good mentor are the same characteristics that a good leader has, and especially a leader that's able to create psychological safety for the person who they work with. right? So I think it makes all the sense that you can practice and become stronger in that perspective by becoming a mentor. And this is a time where many mentors are needed, especially women in tech that are that want to share their knowledge and their own experience. I think this is the time to become a mentor and to look for a mentor as well. Well, Limor, those are all my questions for today. I don't know if you would like to add anything else. I know you had I think you had another slide maybe, or
No, I don't have
are
any
we good?
slides. First of all, I really had a good time. And thank you so
Yes.
much, Preet, for joining me today.
Yes,
Really enjoyed the
it was super
conversation.
fun. Thank you. And I think this is, as I said, this is a subject that I'm really passionate about. I think just having access to a community, having access to a network of support, to having access at least to one person that wants you to be successful makes such a big difference in a person's life. So thank you for creating this space. Thank you for opening up this conversation. Thank you for everything that you do for people in general in your business. And I'm excited to see what's next for you, Limor.
Yeah, so let's discuss what's next. So first of all, thank you all for listening. I don't know, Preet, if you see any questions, we can answer them. If not, that's fine too. And I want to hear from you, from all of you that are listening, either to the live or to the recording. What are the topics you would like me to speak about? Also, Preet, if you have ideas, let me know. And one of the topics that I have in my queue to put alive soon is about goal setting, because goal setting is so critical for someone's growth. If you don't know where you're going, how will you get there? So goal setting is super critical. And as we start the year, it's always a good opportunity to set goals for the year to come. And connect with me, follow me, ask me questions. I mean, I'm happy to engage with all of you. And thank you all. And I wish you all happy 2023 and all the best and success for all of you. And thank you so much, Preet.
Thank you too, Limor. I think we have some comments, but I'm not able to see if there are questions or not. So I think that for today, this is a good wrap up. So thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Have a great week.
Thank you. And
Take
I'll
care.
stop the live
Bye-bye.
stream. Thank you so much.